So you're just about to select your real estate agent to rent your property out or to sell your property. How committed is your real estate agent, and how can you tell? Stay tuned.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Mr. Novak, good morning.
Hello, Mr. Lamplugh. Top of the morning to you.
Top of the morning to you. It is episode 497, closing in on a pretty big number. Actually, before we start, that's pretty impressive. I gotta say, 500 morning minutes episodes. That's not a feat to be whiffed at. But anyway, I'm sure you can talk about that in a couple of days.
Yeah, 497, 3 more to go, and we've been doing these 6 days a week. Can you zoom up on your nugget a little bit? I can't see you.
Too far
So
away.
it's been, it's been a long road, but it's been fun, and I think hopefully we've helped a lot of people along the way.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's not done for ourselves, and you didn't do it for that purpose. You did it to help, to inform, to educate, to just to get real estate content out there where there probably was a bit of a shortage out there in general, sort of public information. But anyway, that's another whole conversation. Oh, I've lost a bit of sound from you there, Mark.
Absolutely.
So today's topic: how committed is my agent? How can I tell? Good morning, Sean. Mark, what would you be looking at? Let's say you were looking for an agent to sell your own property, or what would be the signs that you're looking for, the assessments that you can make that would give you these sort of indications when you're comparing one from another, if you were sort of going to potentially get a couple different agents in to see what they were doing, how they were different, etc.
What are the hallmarks? Hey, well, first of all, commitment's important for a real estate agent, and a great trainer that we use, Tom Panos, always says, hustle beats talent when talent doesn't hustle. So you can have the best real estate agent that's so experienced, that is just not hustling, that is just not committed, that is just not into you or your property as much as they should be, but they've got the experience. So sometimes choosing that person without as much experience, but an enormous amount of commitment and traction and dedication to you, their industry, their job, the property, your property, can make you more money. So you don't want anyone not experienced. And it's not all about just who's the hungriest real estate agent, that's who I'm going to give my business to. But certainly a massive part of your decision making when you're choosing an agent. And I guess you've got to be if you ask any real estate agent how committed are you, they're all going to tell you 10 out of 10. We're all salespeople. So how do you actually tell is a really interesting question. And people are parting with an emotional decision. They're parting with their home. They're parting with a lot of money that they're going to be selling the property for, and a lot of money that they're going to be paying the agent. So this is a big decision, and making that right decision super bloody important.
Yeah, I was just thinking then for a moment, if you were to ask the general public who aren't in the real estate know, because generally they're not going to know, all these different agents from across the country. You wouldn't expect from the general person that the number one real estate agent in the country is 25 years old. So it goes to show that it's not all about how many years you've had in the industry, that sort of thing. It is the commitment, the drive, the passion that you bring into the table. So it's pretty impressive to think of it that way. And there was something else that I ran into someone in one of my open homes or one of my private appointments. I had someone come in a couple of days ago, and it was an owner in the building I was selling a unit in, and she had previously been on the market very tentatively, and she recently had a new market appraisal from another agency. And she was saying to me what I found interesting, Mark. the agent was talking down about her property to her. The building's terrible. All of these issues, you know, people don't want to live here. They want to be in Meriton across the road. You know, little signs like that goes a massive way as well. In like, you have to also believe in the product. You have to have a little bit of extra oomph. If everything's going to be negative, that's going to just relay onto the buyers or the prospective purchasers that you're meeting the whole time. And you know, these psychological traits, they follow on and carry through, and people can see right through that.
Oh, look, and sometimes people aren't looking for the big answers; they're looking for the little ones. So they're asking, you know, levels of commitment and questions that, you know, out of the agent. But they don't necessarily ask that question, so they'll ask a lot of other questions. And what you've mentioned is, I think sometimes when agents go through a property, we actually ask the wrong questions. And you know, that you can positively frame your questions or you can negatively frame your questions. And when you positively frame your questions, you allow the person you're asking the question from to give you a positive answer, irrelevant to what the answer is. Now, an example of that is, do you have any parking? Is a positively framed question to find out about parking. And if you say, do you have a garage, is a negatively framed question, because the odds of an owner saying, yes, I've got a car space, yes, I've got a garage, yes, I've got a carport, they can only answer that question in a positive manner.
Yeah.
When you ask, do you have a garage, there's a 2 out of 3 chance they're going to give you an answer like, no, unfortunately, I only have a car space, or no, unfortunately. So I think, you know, what you just mentioned about talking to a real estate agent, you know, that comes with, I think there's a level of commitment to your business, knowing your business like that, to how you want to make people feel, and that again gives that gut feeling on what we're talking about today with commitment.
Yeah. So anyways, it was an interesting one, and I just found it, you know, you want to sell these people's properties, of course, so you've got a vested interest in that. And then you're saying that, anyway, so that's another level of commitment, probably not what we're so much focusing on today, but it was interesting to hear from an owner who had an absolutely unbelievable property, like a penthouse apartment. So anyway, I found that interesting. Mark, what would you say otherwise? So if you were going to go around and interview, you know, a couple of different agents, and you wanted to see what they're about, how might you be able to find out commitment sort of levels from them? Is there anything in particular that you'd be looking out for?
I think when I'm selecting a real estate agent for rentals or for sale, and I'm looking at commitment, I would look at some sort of format that the agent has, or some sort of structure committed to their job. So when you are very good at what you are doing, your processes are excellent. When you've got a lot of commitment, your processes are apparent. And I think as soon as you make contact with that real estate agent, you want to feel like you're a real person, that your property's going to be looked after well, that your buyer's going to be looked after well. But I think you want to make sure you're going to be part of a team or part of a machine that has excellent processes, and they will be very obvious very quickly by punctuality, by follow-up, by content. You know, when you can see that the agent knows what they're talking about, recent sales, the content they're giving you, your price, their presentation, and I think that's super important. And even the way they present themselves online, the consistency there, that's all commitment from your real estate agent. I think that's very important. Yeah,
right. Sorry, I'm getting blinded by the lighting this morning a little bit, Mark. My eyes look a bit red. Yeah, so look, these are all pretty huge traits. And as you say, they're making a huge financial commitment at the end of the day, whether they're selling or renting. They're putting their faith into this person to look after their asset and to maximize their return for them. And yeah, there's not many decisions in life you're going to make that are too much bigger than that. You know, whether it's sales or rentals, it's a big one. So look, I think it's just interesting when you hear about different ways people go about business and different, you just hear little things, and it makes you wonder, and good on people for having all their different successes in their own ways, but there are clear-cut ways to make yourself a little bit of a step above the rest. Not to say not to say we're better than, it's one of those things where it's an observation from afar where these things become apparent. And particularly if you're working on a 34-week campaign, and then as Sean said here, if you're not communicating, they're just not that into you. You get these signs. You should be in touch with these people all the time. You're showing positive energy, showing that you're doing stuff, you're hustling, you're actually getting out there to try and make things happen, which is probably one of the hardest things when they're probably set on a schedule. Oh, I'll show up on a Wednesday, I'll show up on a Saturday, I'll speak to them a little bit on a Wednesday, have a little bit of a chat with them on a Saturday. We recently took over an agency, a sales campaign from an agent that wasn't able to successfully transact the property. And the vendor was telling us, Mark, that, he did one open home a week, and then there were 2 weeks where he didn't turn up, and all these sorts of things. And you're just saying, how can someone, you put trust in someone to do this for you, and then they don't give you anything back whatsoever, but then they expect a paycheck at the end of it. Anyway.
Yeah, look, obvious things like who's going to do your open houses. And guys who are watching, I'd love to know how you would select a real estate agent in terms of commitment. Whack your comments in. Make sure you're on the Novak channel if you're making a comment so it comes up. I think, James, that property that you had there, whenever we sell a property that was with another agent, and it's quite often, and the other agent has not sold it, we would probably do 2 a month, 3, maybe even 3 a month. And so the person puts it on the market, can't rent it, person puts it on the market, can't sell it. We call that a cleanup when we come in behind and get it rented and get it sold. Your property there, you had a very experienced agent, the one that you sold last week, who had it on the market for a long time. When I asked you the commitment question there, where did the agent fall short from your point of view and your vendor's point of view from the feedback they gave you? And how could they have seen that in the presentation? So before they signed on the dotted line, how could they have seen those hallmarks of a lack of commitment? What questions could she have asked?
Yeah, well, as you say, like who will be conducting my open homes? What will the frequency?
That's a big one.
What will the frequency of appointments being? Is it going to be twice a week? Is it going to be more? Do you want access further times than Wednesdays and Saturdays? In terms of marketing, what are we going to be doing on a weekly basis to change things up? Have you got a structured plan that's going to make any effect to the way the campaign looks from week to week? I had another one in my head there for a second, but these are pretty big calls.
I think past sales are pretty good commitments. Like if you can see the agents sold the last 6 properties in your block, I think there's a level of commitment there and success that you can actually follow as well.
Yeah. Sean's
mentioned gut feeling and great communication. Is in Victoria, so not in a position to have you guys represent. So yeah, I reckon that good old fashioned feeling that you get when you eyeball belly to belly with a real estate agent. That's a really good way to gauge commitment. 100%. Yeah. So back to that question that I asked James, is there anything else that could have been that owner could have sussed out with that real estate agent? You mentioned open houses, frequency of communication. Is there any other way they could have nailed that? Can I answer one thing? One of those, commitment to the area. Commitment to the area. So, in that particular building, you've sold everything in there. Not many other agents have sold anything else for over a year. You've been very committed to that location of DY and that building as well. That's important when you're selecting a real estate agent.
Well, that's it. And don't get me wrong, people choose out of area agents for various reasons. Like we've got Lisa selling a property in Waverton at the moment, but she's got what's the word I'm looking for? But the level of commitment to the vendors, to that family, there's such there's such a bond there that's something that, you know, they can supersede things. So there are special circumstances from time to time. It's a hard question to answer, I think, because it's pretty subjective, but you can isolate these little pieces probably within your first 2 weeks of your campaign. And I'm sure from the vendor's perspective, 2 weeks in, good or bad, you're thinking, I made the right choice here. This guy or this girl is on fire. She's doing everything. Or 2 weeks in, you're thinking, shit, actually, is this the best thing for my property? How am I going to get the best result? Is this person committed? Do they know the buyers? They're in the area. Are they committed to the suburb? You don't always have to be specifically, but I think it goes a very, very, very long way, particularly when you're sort of talking about your own databases and all the various things that we try and bring to the table to speed up the process, to get the best price. All of these things are huge, aren't they? Yeah,
and we're looking. And before we sign out, as an owner, you're looking for an overall scorecard on commitment. You're right. You know, we are all very strong and very weak in different areas of commitment. But that overall scorecard that you've got on commitment, you want to get it as close to 8, 9, or 10 as you can. So I think, like you mentioned, Lisa sort of lucked out with commitment to Waverton or whatever that was, but very committed on other aspects of commitment. So, you know, she was still way up there in a 9 or 10 for the client, so much so to choose her as the agent when we're talking about commitment, and that is commitment for today.
That's right. We've got a couple of quick comments. Michelle, I haven't actually managed to read it yet, but consistency is key to be a great gun. 25 years old. Don't forget the agents have been in the industry for 20 years plus, consistently offering great service, know the market, all their clients achieve great. We will come to That's a good point. Sorry, I got a little bit jumpy ahead of that. Luke Maroney, good
morning. Open house on a Sunday.
Open houses on a Sunday. Yep.
That's commitment. That's commitment. When an agent says that to you, you know that they are committed to you.
Yeah, they're like, oh, that's not normal.
No brainer.
And it's interesting when you do those, and then the buyer's like, so why are we open today? Like, I don't understand. It's not Saturday. Like, it's hard to say it. Yeah, they're like, nice work. And you're just making it more convenient. You're making it more accessible for people. Personally, I think a great agent can sell property for a record anywhere. I think that's true, Lisa. I think we're going to see something similar to that happen in Waverton soon.
The most committed agent in the country, Lisa Novak.
Got to agree. And Luke Maroney, tennis commitment. Interesting. All right, Mark. Anyway, I think that's a wrap. Is it? Do you have anything else you want to say?
When you're choosing an agent, it's a very, very signing out. It's a very, very big move, and you've got to make sure you're committing. When you're choosing your real estate agent, they are committed. They are going to undertake a massive task for you, selling your asset or renting your asset. You are giving them a bag of cash to manage and extract as much money out of the market with that bag of cash. So commitment's very, very key to choose. And they are a lot of the ways you can select when you're choosing your real estate agent, commitment out of your real estate agent. Hope we've helped.
All right. Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, buddy. Cheers.
All right, cheers.